our brand mission is to inspire joy every day, whether it's through products, experiences, and it's a very personal motivation for me to partner with someone like Make-A-Wish because we are a wish family.
Welcome to the Optimized Workplace. I'm your host, Fran Bishop. Today, I welcome CEO Viola Sutanto. She is the creative director and founder of sustainability brand Maika. Viola, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Fran. I'm excited to be here today.
Well, we're delighted that you're here. And just off the cuff, please explain to our listeners, what does it mean to have a sustainability brand and what is Maika all about?
I'll start with what Maika is. And at Maika, we make bags for everyday use that are both beautiful but also functional. And these bags are made with sustainable materials. The second thing that we do is partner with brands and help them connect better and more joyfully with their customers through storytelling and design. And sometimes that results in designing exclusive product collections for them or creating programs or experiences.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you. And as far as the sustainability part of things, that's a thread that runs through everything that we do beyond just creating a product. So, as I mentioned, the bags are made with sustainable materials, but then, we try to take that through what does that look like beyond sourcing sustainable materials in the manufacturing process? How do we optimize things there so that we are a little bit gentler on the earth? And in terms of the complete product, how do we package them? How do we ship them? Mm-hmm. And then there's also sustainability within the workplace where we try to go paperless as much as possible. It's sustainability is something that I think goes beyond a physical product, and we try to incorporate that as much as possible.
You've given us a whole lot to unpack here. So let's take this in sections because I think it's fantastic. For those of you who are listening and can't see us, you can follow the Optimize Workplace on YouTube, but she's got some beautiful designed bags behind her in the backdrop. So again, if you're just listening and you're not viewing this, hop over to the YouTube so you can see it, because I love you truly are a creative artist because you can see the artistry in the bags. You can also see some of her samplings on the wall, which is fantastic. So let's unpack the piece that you said around helping brands kind of bring their vision to light, if you will, and tell a story. I love that piece because storytelling is, it's so visible when people do it well. It's visible from novels, from music to fashion to all kinds of things. And I love the idea of what you just said, storytelling in the workplace, because in the work that we do, we're seeing a lot of clients dealing with, mass resignation and mass reorganization, massively trying to figure out how do they redeploy this distributed workplace and remote workers and get people to buy in again to their brand, for one, and to coming back into the office for two, or looking at a hybrid, whatever that looks like. So can you talk a little bit about how you at Maika really do tell the story and help brands tell the story around sustainability for their particular brand? I love that idea.
I'm going to start with the current partnership that we have, which I'm super excited about. So we just partnered with Make-A-Wish America. And, their mission is really to grant wishes to kids with critical illnesses. And these wishes are really powerful because it brings them hope and joy as they're fighting, these massive battles with their health. And for us at Maika, our brand mission is to inspire joy every day, whether it's through products, experiences. And it's a very personal motivation for me to partner with someone like Make-A-Wish because we are a wish family. My daughter went through a bone marrow transplant in 2019, and she was granted a wish by Make-A-Wish. And her wish was, by the way, I should say my daughter is fine now. She's healthy.
We were all on like,
yeah, it's a miracle story. Her little 3-year-old brother was a bone marrow donor, and so it all ended well there. But what really inspired me was that her wish was to create this giant mural with her favorite quote that she and I would hand letter and design together. and invite all our friends and family who have been a part of her journey to come together one weekend and paint this mural. And it was an incredible experience. You've got like 100 kids, 11-year-olds, adults, families coming together to make this piece of art. And the quote says, "It doesn't get any easier, you just get stronger." And it's really
doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get any easier. You just get stronger. Oh, I love that. You guys, you should, if you're in traffic right now, commit that to memory, record it. I think that is fantastic. It doesn't get any easier. You just get stronger. That's a mantra for life. Go, little 3-year-old. That's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
So out of that, that wish, it inspired us to create a whole collection. It's called Maika's Wish Collection. And now we have a partnership with Make-A-Wish where, we're helping them further their mission, but also really, both brands are so aligned in our mission to spread joy and hope. And for every purchase, you make that you purchase from Maika's Wish Collection, will make a direct donation to them. And so, in this kind of partnership, I think where both brands are very aligned, both brands are very motivated to further their work, there is true sustainability in that kind of a partnership. So when there's alignment, there will be sustainability in the long run. That's what I believe.
So let's talk about, obviously Make-A-Wish is a very dynamic, I think, very resourceful, and it's easy to see the story pattern and the storyline in a brand like that. Let's face it, most corporate brands are not that interesting and they're not that, there's no sizzle. It's just, we show up, we do the work that we do, and we may be very committed to that work, but they're not that exciting. They're not that sizzle. It's very interesting running Aero Bodies. Every time I meet somebody, they always want to know where the name come from and how you got started, because I think the name is like Aero Bodies. What does that mean? But a lot of brands aren't that way, right? They're kind of basic. So going back to this idea that you have around telling the story on sustainability, for one, does a brand have to be a sustainable brand in order to tell a sustainable story? And yes or no, if not, then how do they connect that sustainable storytelling, as you just mentioned, to maybe their ESG mission, environmental sustainability and governance? How do they then do that?
You don't have to be a sustainable brand in order to be able to partner and create meaning. There's always, even in the largest of organizations, even if it seems everything in there is kind of dry and you just do the work and you go home, there's always a snippet of something that is connected to the why, the overarching brand mission. So I feel like where we have our strength in is finding that little nugget that then sets off, that's like that little spark, that just sets off what this whole partnership, what this whole storytelling could look like. Even within, huge corporations, there's maybe a foundation that they've started where they're doing really good work. It's not high profile. It's, it's kind of that hidden gem within a larger body that, we try to dig into and find. And sometimes it's an individual, it's that one person working in the company that's really the force behind the company. So we want to look for those kinds of nuggets to work with.
Yeah, I love that, because you're really showing that you have to really be connected with your mission and know your why. And I probably, Maika's superpower is being able to help brands uncover that. They have a mission statement, but sometimes that really is not connected to their why, of why people show up and do the work that they do. And to that point, that's what's so powerful, is really helping employees realize, why am I showing up? Why am I so vested in this organization? We do a lot of federal work with our company. And I was talking to one of our strategic partners the other day, and they said they know the reason why people come to work at their federal brand is because they know at the end of the day, they're helping to save lives. They're helping, civilians who are supporting some of these units and deployments of large scale individuals for, stability operations or emergency management or something like that. So that's a huge, it's very clear what your why is. But I love what you're saying,
Right.
Viola, is helping people identify their why. Sometimes it takes some digging, it takes some uncovering. And so that's how you all partner with organizations to do that. So let's kind of go behind the lens a little bit, because I'm sure many of our listeners are so curious about how you even got started in this work. What drove you as a founder to even decide to launch this brand and grow it as you have. So can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Sure. So I first started this company as a design services company. It was a brand agency to serve small businesses that may not have the budget to hire a full-on branding agency to start their brand. And from there, I realized that there's really some power in doing this and helping small brands at the very start of that journey to get involved in that story and help them grow. So I've always loved that. But my own personal journey was that I got restless. I wanted to make product, I wanted to physically use my hands and make things. And so, I started another division of the company where I was making things, going to trade shows, selling wholesale. And over time, that business grew and it became the bag brand Maika. Ironically, I grew up in a bag family. My family has over 4 decades of experience in the luxury bag business in Asia. Oh, and growing up, I always thought, I will never get into that bag business. It is so hard. So I tried really hard to avoid starting a bag brand. Look where I am today. So, I guess it's in my blood, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
But, as I continue to grow Maika as a product brand, I always had my pulse on, design and experiences and, how do I incorporate that back into our brand, and now being able to partner with other brands and grow both channels of the Maika brand product and experience design has been a very joyful experience for me.
I love that. That is so phenomenal. So a couple of things that you said that I think really resonated is the fact that so often we want to run away from our story. I'm the kid of entrepreneurs, two entrepreneurs, too. My family had businesses when I was at 3 years old. I remember going with my dad. My dad had a string of restaurants, right? And I was always going to the restaurants with him, and I was responsible for helping him receive the food and the supplies from the different people that would come in, and then I got to pay them. I had to reach into the cash register and pay them. So I remember that, but so often I was like, I so hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to worry about this. I don't want to look at your ledger. I'm 10 years old. I don't feel like getting on this truck and doing this. And it's funny how, as an entrepreneur, you go back to those stories and you find that those stories really help you. And people go to classes and they go get MBAs and they want to sit at the feet of entrepreneurs who have been doing it for years, where, you and I, we learned it at the kitchen table. So that is phenomenal. So unpack that a little bit more for us. So how, since you grew up the child of parents who have been in the business, how did you then decide to launch in this area, sustainability bags and the types of bags that you have? Like what was that calling that you had, so to speak? How did you decide to go in that direction? Because we have, and the reason I'm asking that question is we have a lot of people that listen that are in corporate America, leaders, et cetera. But we also have people, and I hear this a lot from leaders, that, I've always thought about if I wanted to launch my own. And so I think that creative juice, where did that creative juice come from? Since you are a creator, you're an artist as well. I think that would be so helpful for people to hear.
So first of all, I think that's the difference between being an artist and a designer. And this is something I've thought about a lot, right? Where I think when you're an artist, you create art, it comes from the heart. It's what moves you to create art. But then as a designer, I've always felt like you're designing or you're creating to solve a need, to solve a problem. So in my case, I've always felt like I think more like a designer than an artist. So in my case, I was looking for that gap, growing up around luxury bags. And, I love everything about them, the craftsmanship, the attention to detail, and just every step of the process is so meticulous and so thoughtful. And I really admired that. But I've always felt the price points are just not accessible to the average working professional. I don't want to have a bag where I've spent so much money and be afraid to set it down because it's going to get stained or,
or somebody will steal
dirty.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So or people will judge you because of it. You know what I mean? All of that stuff. It's all of that stuff.
Yeah. Or the best one is when you have to buy another bag to put your precious bag in because you're afraid it's going to get dirty.
It's nuts. It's nuts what we do to protect our luxury addictions, right?
Yes. And, I realized, I have access to these luxury bags. My parents would gift me something from the latest collection, and I was always afraid to use them because I work in a pretty industrial environment. I'm making things. I have inks and, scissors everywhere. So my thought was like, what if I were to create a bag that is, just as thoughtfully designed, just as thoughtfully crafted, good quality materials, but make it accessible to more people. And that's how the whole idea of I want to inspire joy through creating delightful products that are accessible to people who want to use them.
So you were really clear about the why. I'm hearing you were really clear about the why and who was going to use these materials. And it's interesting hearing your story because you're seeing this more and more, I think, with I just call it aligned luxury. I mean, there are brands that are coming up now like yours that are aligned to that luxury feel, but they want to make them very accessible to everyone else. There's another famous brand. I won't name him, but a lot of people carry his bags and he's well known. And he's very much about, he has this new thing in terms of the pricing where if the bag sells out or the product sells out, then that's the price it's locked at forever, which I thought was really a very ingenious way. Yeah, isn't that cool? I'll tell you who it is after the call. But I think that's really ingenious, right? It's like, I want my bags accessible. I want people to feel good about them, but I don't want them to go broke or not pay rent because they got to get this bag. Like that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you can still look good. Male, female, you can still look good. You can still look fantastic. And I love red, first of all. So my eyes just keep going to the collection behind you because you have red and you have grays and they're fun and they're vibrant. So I'm just thinking, who inspires you? I'm so curious. Who inspires you? What inspires you to create and to continue to design as you do?
Gosh, so many things inspire me. It's really just being observant, looking around every day. In general, I would say Japanese design inspires me. Scandinavian design inspires me. And just artists, fine artists. I love looking at a whole range of work and just playing. You know what it is? It's play. Play inspires me. I usually have the best ideas when I am doing something that is not at all related to what I thought I was doing. I can't sit down and just say, today I'm going to design a pattern. It's usually when I'm maybe doodling with my kid, drawing Spider-Man that I go, oh, this could be a really good pattern out of the scribbles that we've just created.
So if a brand came to you and said, hey, we know that we need to create a story, or we know that there's a story in there about our brand, but we're not sure what product and we're not sure what story, because I truly believe that brands have multiple stories, right? Like there's so many iterations that you have as you've grown your company or you've launched a new service line or product line. But if a brand came and said, Viola, we know we want to launch some sort of product that tells our story. Can you talk us through the co-creation process a little bit and what a brand, Aero Bodies, for instance, should be thinking about if we wanted to, partner with your company to tell our story through a product, a sustainable product?
I think, in the exploratory phase of this is to just ask a lot of questions. In the beginning, I would never know. I would never seem to say, I think you should have a collection of bags or a collection of hardware or something like that. But I think for us, the first phase is always about having an open mind, talking to stakeholders, having interviews, having conversations with people from various parties, and trying to find, what's your objective? What's your desired outcome from this? And, what do you want your customers to get out of this? And then from there, we just let the conversations flow. We, sometimes we go on site, we take a look at, brick and mortar. What does that look like for you? What do your offices look like, and what do you want it to look like? And it's really from there and just exploring the different options that we start to find patterns or just threads that we can work from. I know it all sounds kind of fake at this point, but it's hard for me to pinpoint exactly, step 1, 2, or 3 is, because it often it's kind of a meandering process, which is the fun of it, because it opens up so many possibilities.
Well, to me, it doesn't, because, I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm thinking, when we go in and work with companies, people always want to know how, what's step 1, step 2, step 3. When you co-create a process or design a wellness center or a fitness center or a new office that brings in sustainable well-being. And I think I relate to what you're saying because it's very much about that. It's very open-ended. It's lots of questions. For me, it's always about being curious. And what is it you're trying to, what is the end game? What is the end purpose and the end why look like for you? So that completely resonates with me. Completely. But I'm sure for some people, they're still scratching their head like, so go to her website and you can figure that out. So that makes me think about something that you and everybody right now is being bombarded with, is that whole idea around AI and ML and metaverse, and so much about, robotics and, this whole design using computers to do everything. And it's funny, I was taking I take a stacked workout class on Thursdays, which is all about weights. I'm a little bit tired. That's why I have my cute little attire on here, because I'm keeping this jacket on. I'm keeping the jacket on.
Great.
But when I am working out, I'm driving, that's when I'm most creative. When my body is, they call it something, it's something neuroscience wise, but when your body is actively doing, moving in a different purpose, then the neurotransmitters are really going. And I was thinking this morning about that high idea around, there's so much happening with computers and artificial intelligence these days that we're getting further and further away from that human touch and that human connection and that human-centric way of being. And so my creative juices were coming up, for myself around what we can do as a company to make that more human-centric connection. So I've got some ideas on that. But as a creator in your space, because this call is all about you, I'm so curious, what's your take on that, Viola, in terms of, again, what we see today and how people can stay purposeful to the human connection. And sustainability is all about the human connection, right? It's not overuse. It's really about using what you have and being very intentional around that. So how do we stay grounded in that, particularly thinking about, as you just said, you use existing materials to recreate and design incredible things?
I think it's all about balance. I mean, you hit it right there when you said, intention. It's all about using technology intentionally. It can't, at least in my opinion, I don't think it can ever fully replace the human experience.
No.
But, I think if you use it selectively, it could be a huge advantage to you and your company. But at this early stage, I think everyone's just trying to figure out where does that fit in, and it's going to be different for every company, every brand. I mean, we're still trying to figure it out too. And I'm dabbling in it. I'm trying to think through like, how does this apply to us, our team? When should we utilize it versus not? Um, and it's evolving so fast. The tool that you thought you had 3 weeks ago, it's something completely different and 10 times more advanced. It's
Yes.
really fascinating for me, and I don't really have an answer yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I I'm confident that we can use this to our advantage. It's just a matter of balance.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think in the throwback of fast fashion and trying to move away from that, and
Mhm.
that a purpose-driven company like your own, and really thinking about intentionally what you're trying to do. I think that there is a valuable way in which to use it and to employ it, that doesn't
Right.
take away that touch, because I think the human touch is so very important. And I'm sure you see it
Yeah.
come up quite a bit.
Even in my own design experience, when we were first introduced to computers, suddenly we can draw really straight lines and perfect curves on the software. And I just jumped right on that. Everything was computer generated. Oh, it's so perfect. And then I started to miss the hand drawn line, and I realized it's the wobbly
Mm.
stuff and the imperfections that really make our products special. It feels more personal. And so I started incorporating the human touch back into the process, but still using the software and technology end of things to expedite, the whole creation process. And
Mm.
I think that's a way to marry both of those aspects into an experience. And it's just like I think every brand just needs to play around with it and figure it out for themselves what that looks like for them.
I completely concur. You said it beautifully. You really did. So, as we're moving towards the end of our call, I'm so curious, what are you most excited about, this year? Are there any highlights for your brand or for yourself as a CEO and as you move into Q2? I can't believe we're in Q2 already, but we are.
I know.
I know. It's like, what happened? Who turned the lights off? It's been like working away and we're already here. So, anything you're
Oh.
super excited about or highlight of your year thus far?
As a company, I'm excited to continue scaling the business. It's been a fast moving Q1, but it's been great. We're growing our team, we're bringing on new people. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about thinking through how to work together as a fully remote company when everyone's all over the place. I'm excited to explore more partnerships with brands. I'm open to the possibilities, and I'm excited to see what's ahead there. And going back to my brand design roots and incorporating that into our brand going forward. And then at a personal level, I am motivated to really um, have my own me time outside of work. Like, I've made a commitment that's what I want to do going forward. It's years in the making. It's a slow transition of a recovering workaholic, but I'm excited to, officially schedule time off on my calendar. I do a personal retreat once a quarter where I check myself into an Airbnb or a hotel, and I tell my husband, "You got the kids. You're not allowed to call me. You're not allowed to text me and ask me what time their taekwondo class is. All on you. Just 48 hours.
You can do it, dude. You can do
Much
it.
better person."
I love it.
He's
I
got
love
it.
it.
He's got
You
it.
use my favorite word, balance. It's so about balance. It is. I mean, like, you can drive as the CEO, and you could create $100 million brand if you wanted to, but for the sake of what? And for the
Yeah.
sake of your life, it's like, why? What's the purpose of that? It's after a while, you can only wear, I heard this quote years ago, you can only wear one pair of Manolos at a time. Or if you're,
I love
or
that.
if you're a Christian Louboutin,
Mm.
or carry one person at a time. Otherwise you look like an idiot. So seriously, like what's all that about? So you got to keep the balance. I love it. You got to keep the balance.
Yeah.
As we close, is there anything that you would like to leave with our listeners if they want to learn more about Maika, the brand, you, and any passion projects you have going on this year in 2023? Anything you'd like to leave us with?
I would love it if everyone would go check out and learn more about the story behind our partnership with Make-A-Wish. We're doing a big push to really try to highlight what they're doing and how we can help them move forward. At maikagoods.com/wish. We tell the story there of our family being a wish family as well. Mm-hmm. So, I would love if everyone could check that out. And if anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm Viola Sutanto. Always happy to chat and connect with other entrepreneurs, women leaders, or leaders in general. Sorry, I shouldn't say just women leaders.
Yes, you should. No alienation. We are no alienation nation. We're a friendly podcast. We love our men too. They serve a purpose.
Yes, we do.
Everything that she just shared will definitely be in the show notes. So continued success to you, Viola. You are doing some incredible work. I love the idea around the partnerships because I do think partnerships are a great way to scale companies and also to uncover your own creativity and find new ideas and new resources, right? You can't be the only brilliant person at the boardroom table all the time. So I think that's fantastic. Everything about her company, though, will be in the show notes. We'll make sure we share that with you and the website, as well as this wonderful story with Make-A-Wish. I think that's phenomenal. And thank you all for joining us with the Optimized Workplace. Remember, it's many monumental moments that make the biggest difference in life. I'm your host, Fran Dean Bishop. It's been a pleasure. Viola, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun, Fran.